Oh my god. Yum. Hello. It feels like it's been a very long time, and that's because it has been a very long time. Max is private chefing today, so we have a couple of hours to ourselves. We have a bakery near us that does vegan croissants, and they do an almond croissant, which is so good. If you guys eat your croissants at home, let me know if you have them with any accoutrement. Breakfast is done. I'm now just having a look at the cinema times for this evening. We get 2 free cinema tickets with our Sky package that we're on. We only recently realised this and we're like, what have we been doing? We absolutely love going to the cinema. In the comment section under one of my previous videos, someone mentioned something about my skin, and I commented that this camera has like an automated skin blurring effect. I spent some time online figuring out how to take off the filter, and I'm happy to say it is now off. So there's no skin filter on this, and I don't add anything in post. I'm happy we've managed that. What I'm really excited to talk to you about today is the Women's Prize for Non-Fiction. You might know, because I've mentioned it a few times, that I am one of the judges on the first ever Women's Prize for Non-Fiction. This is genuinely such an important prize because its aim is to put women at the forefront of non-fiction. They are lagging behind men in terms of the amount of press they receive, reviews and chart positions, and of course money. There is a massive gender pay gap in non-fiction. It's now up to about 36%, which is wild. Yet women are rightfully experts in their fields and should be positioned as experts in non-fiction. So this is the aim of the prize, and honestly, it has been such a pleasure to be part of the judging panel. I really want to focus on the 6 shortlisted titles today. I'm so excited about these books, and I'm really thrilled to be telling you about them. We previously selected 16 books for the long list, all of which I would recommend, and then we recently got that list down to 6, which was a big process. I'm so excited to tell you about these 6 books, which I am honestly just in complete awe of. The first is A Flat Place by Noreen Masood. This is a memoir. Noreen suffers from complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a result of a very traumatic childhood. She was born in Pakistan and then moved to the UK. Noreen's complex PTSD kind of flattens some of her emotions and blanks her memory a little as well. And I think it's this exploration of complex PTSD in this book, married with Noreen's kind of fascination and infatuation of flat landscapes, that is just so interesting and blends really well together. She also has some brilliant reflections on kind of British whiteness and class and English people, which I found really entertaining and compelling. This book is exquisitely written, and it also feels original and radical. So of course, like all of these books, I highly recommend it. The next book is Thunderclap by Laura Cumming. Now, this is about art history, which is not a topic I would ever be drawn to either online or in a bookshop. But please, if you're like me in that regard, let me change your mind. This is the story of Laura Cumming's father and her memories of him, and she blends those with Dutch art history. It is lyrical, it's emotional. This book holds you like a really good novel. And this is actually something I want to say quite generally about non-fiction. When I talk to people about non-fiction, usually I'm met with, oh yeah, I don't really like non-fiction, I can't really get into it, I find it really heavy. All of these books on our final 6 I find just as compelling, if not more compelling, than reading fiction. And I think we have a lot of work to do in terms of reshaping how we view non-fiction. It can be so page-turny in every single regard, and Thunderclap is definitely one of those books. Laura Cumming draws attention to a much overlooked Dutch artist in this book, and her father was also an artist, so now you might be able to see how these two things are linking. To me, Laura's gift is putting paintings into words. This is a breathtaking book. Next up, we have my favourite book title, I think, of all time ever. It is Code Dependent by Madhumita Murguia, Living in the Shadow of AI. This is an utterly chilling and compelling book. It will totally alter your perspective on how we move through the world, especially as surveillance culture and surveillance capitalism becomes more prominent, and of course as our protest rights are stripped back. That was kind of a real theme that this book made me consider more deeply. Now, if you follow me on social media, you'll know that I talk about topics like waste colonialism quite frequently, and also colonialism quite generally, because obviously colonialism and fashion are inextricably linked, and of course the climate crisis and colonialism are inextricably linked. But I'd never thought about digital or data colonialism, and what this book highlights is how marginalized communities and people are already being oppressed by big tech and AI. This book offers global perspectives, and it's about how unchecked power can be a threat to our democracy, safety and security. It's an essential read, and I can't wait to hear what you think of it. Next up, we have How to Say Babylon by Safia Sinclair. This is an exquisitely written and lyrical book. Safia grew up in Jamaica in a Rastafarian household, and she explores post-colonial Jamaica and religious fundamentalism. If you enjoyed Tara Westover's Educated, I think you're going to love this book. I learned so much in this book. It's a book you kind of want to take your time with because it's just so rich and so poignant. It's about other topics like a mother's love and patriarchy. If you are someone who only reads fiction and is thinking, Venetia's kind of persuading me that I should read these books, I would start with this one out of the 6. It's a kind of perfect segue from fiction to non-fiction because it's a memoir that makes you feel like you're reading fiction. It is just so evocative, and I just think it's absolutely brilliant. Next up, we have All That She Carried by Tia Miles. With extraordinary imagination, Miles tells the story of a sack given in the 1850s by an enslaved black woman called Rose to her 9-year-old daughter Ashley when Ashley was being sold away from her. The sack was later embroidered by Ashley's granddaughter. This sack brings back to life generations of enslaved women who have for the most part been written out of history. So this is a vital, vital book. It is a very bold step to try and reimagine history, but I just think Tia does it so effectively. It's almost like a masterclass in this art. When I was reading this book, I couldn't help but think about what's happening today in Gaza, in Sudan and in Congo, about how people's stories and love stories and family relationships are literally being wiped out of history. And I just want to kind of really emphasize just how much it is brimming with intelligence and overwhelmingly love. And finally, we have Doppelganger by Naomi Klein. Now, the premise of this book is about how Naomi Klein became increasingly frustrated at being mistaken for fellow writer Naomi Wolf. Now, you might know Naomi Wolf as the author of The Beauty Myth, which was a highly successful feminist book from the 90s. Naomi thinks they are mistaken for each other because they're both women, they're both called Naomi, they're both writers, and they're both Jewish. But the reason why she became so unsettled by being mistaken for Naomi Wolf is because Naomi Wolf is a feminist turned conspiracy theorist. But this book is so much bigger and deeper than that premise. Naomi explores politics today. She explores the kind of online world versus the real world. She explores the duality of the self, the duality of many things. She just keeps pulling at this thread. It feels highly original. It's also very funny. There's humor in this book. I was just completely blown away by it. I can't wait to read it again. I think there's just so much in it. And it's also given me new language, which has been so helpful for my therapy sessions where I'm kind of constantly interrogating this kind of awkward thing of having an online self and a real life self. And I just think she's given us new language to talk about topics that we are all going to be familiar with and confused by in this modern world. So it's a triumph of a book. To summarise, please read these books. They are all so worthy of your time. If you do buy them, please support your local bookstore. And if you are buying them online, I'll leave a link to bookshop.org in the description box, which does that very thing. You can also borrow them from your library, but whatever you do, please just read them. I don't know where the time went today, but it's now the evening. Max got me an Easter egg, and I thought in old school YouTube format we could open it together. Actually a decent size. For reference, well, you don't know how big my face is, or my hands. on bar is really good. Good morning.
Isn't that?
Easter egg hunting.
I won.
Secured. The sun is finally out for the first time in what feels like weeks. It might actually well be weeks. I've taken the opportunity to film a recipe for disaster. This one is about Nestle. So we're making Kit Kats, which are currently in the fridge. They're rustic. So we basically made like a pancake batter, which works as a wafer, and then you layer melted chocolate in between 3 layers of wafer. And then you cover those in chocolate, and that is your Kit Kat. I've got like 3 more lines to film. Just waiting for the Kit Kats to harden up. It's so hard. My last line is have a break, have a Kit Kat astrophe. But I think it's easier if I just go Kit catastrophe. I can't say Kit catastrophe. Kit catastrophe.
Catastrophe.
Kit catastrophe. Have a break. Have a I can't.
It's like your brain's telling you.
My brain is not. Have a break. Have a break. Have a Kit Kat catastrophe. Have a Kit Kat astrophe. Have a break. Have a Kit catastrophe. I think the latter works better. Hello, it's a few hours later and the Kit Kat recipe video is filmed. It's not until I get to the edit where I figure out if everything's gone okay, but we cross our fingers. I just wanted to give a quick book update because I've started reading fiction again, and I decided to start with Kamala Shamsie's Home Fire. This won the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2018, and Kamala is one of my fellow judges. So this has just been such a great read, and yeah, I've nearly finished that, so that's been great. Let me know if any of you guys have read that. But I have to admit, I've been missing non-fiction, and this year I went to my local bookshop and picked up a copy of The 100 Years War on Palestine. It is, I would say, pretty dense. I think this is going to take me some time, and I obviously don't want to rush it either. There's a lot of information in there, but this is a book that I really have wanted to read for a while, so this is next up. Again, let me know if any of you guys have read it. Before I close the vlog, I just want to say a huge thank you because I find you all very, very patient with me. I get a couple of messages every now and again being like, hey, like, no pressure, but it would be like nice to see you back on YouTube soon. And I just really, really appreciate that you're never pressurizing and you're very, very understanding. And I feel very lucky to have such a kind and generous community over here. So thank you. Thanks for being patient with me, and I hope it won't be long before I see you again. And I'm sending you all so, so much love. Spring is here. This is a time for new beginnings, fresh chapters, fresh energy, and yeah, sending you all loads of love. Bye.